If you want to give your website visitors a real easy way to schedule appointments, sales calls, consultations, or coaching calls, I'm going to show you the easiest way to do it step by step in this full-length tutorial video. So this will work for any type of business that works based on scheduled times, right? Anything from salons, attorneys, doctors, accountants, personal trainers, you name it. We're going to be using WordPress along with an incredibly easy and actually pretty fun to use page building plugin and a free online scheduling tool that all work together seamlessly. So in just a few hours, you can have a site like this one that's live and online and ready to take appointments that are just going to go right onto your calendar without the back and forth scheduling conflicts. And this method will even work if you want to be able to have people schedule paid appointments or consults too, and just have them pay for it while they book all online. This is the exact same way I do it on my own site, where I used to take free consultation appointments, which were basically sales calls, but now I actually use it to let clients schedule and pay for hourly website coaching calls without me needing to do really anything more than just show up at the time that they paid for. Okay, we've got a lot to do, so let's jump right into it. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to make not just this particular website, but absolutely any website you need to for your service business, any kind of business that needs to take appointments or sales calls, bookings of any kind. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Now, this is perfect for any kind of business that relies on appointments, like I'm talking consultants, coaches, attorneys, doctors, accountants, salons, spas, anything like that, whether it's actual like in-person appointments or over the phone or over Skype or Zoom. Like these could be paid appointments for like how I do with my paid coaching clients, or it could just be the kind of free consultation where you get on the phone with someone to determine if you're a good fit. So basically that sales call. And in the end, you're not only going to have the whole website you need, but you're going to have this page, which is really why you're here, right? Super important to be able to book these appointments. So I'm going to show you exactly how to create the page and embed this widget that comes from a third-party software company called Calendly. It's what I use. It allows people to book a day and time that works for them that's pre-approved by you, because what this does is it draws from your online calendar, your Google Calendar, whatever you use, to see when you're available, when you're not. And then when someone actually sets the appointment on your website, that appointment gets put onto your calendar. So you always know where you're going, when you're making a phone call, and what your day looks like. It just eliminates all that back and forth, and I could not be a bigger fan. So the way it works is people just choose the date that works for them, then they choose a time, confirm, they fill out some simple information that you determine needs to be put here. They can either, you can choose it just to be a phone call or a Zoom call, or you can leave it up to them. You can give them choices. You can add qualifying questions if you want to, and then they just fill this out, they schedule the event, it goes right on your calendar, and they get a notification in their email. It could not be any simpler than that. And if you're only here to learn how to do this part of it, I am going to leave chapters to this whole video in the description below. So just go below and click on the chapter all about setting up this page, the consultation page. But otherwise, you're going to learn everything start to finish, how to create this entire page, including the navigation, including every page involved, and we're going to make it look great on mobile too. But the first thing we need to do is actually get you set up with a domain name and hosting. So let's just jump right into it. Okay, so here we are on bluehost.com, and we got here by going to wesmcdowell.com/hosting. That's what's going to give you this pricing right here, this $295 instead of $799. So obviously this is more than half off. And this gives you a free domain name, free SSL certificate included, which is great for security, one-click WordPress install, and their support is great too. So we're just going to click on Get Started. And from here, it's up to you what you want to choose. I'm just going to choose basic. That's all I've ever gone with. So I'm just going to click on Select. And here you've got a choice. If you already have a domain name you own, you'd put it in here. If not, you're going to buy a new one. I say buy, but it's free. It's included. So I'm just going to put in yourprofitablesite.com, and then you have to see if it's available. Just click on Next. And then if it tells you it's available, you're good to go. If not, you need to go back and try again with a different name. But from here, you're just going to put in all of your information and choose your account plan. It's cheaper with 36 months, but you can go down to 12 months if you'd like to. I'm going to uncheck all of these add-ons. You got to click a few little things here. I'm just going to turn all these off. I don't think they're necessarily needed. And then you're just going to put in all your payment information and check that you've acknowledged their terms, and then click on submit. Okay, so that was super easy, right? Now just click on create your account. Okay, so from here, you're just going to create a password, retype it, and then check the box, and then create account. All right, so now we just go to login. Then you're just going to type in the password you created and then click on login. Okay, so now it's just going to ask you a few questions to kind of get going. This is basically with training wheels, best WordPress for beginners. We're going to skip that because you've got me guiding you here. So I'm going to click on get started. And now we're just going to type in our site name. So I'm just going to type in the name of our fictitious training business. Tagline we can skip. Click on next. And then for directory, you're not going to have to worry about this. This is just because I'm adding a side site to mine. So we're going to make sure all of these are unchecked. We're not going to include any plugins. And then we're going to click on next. Okay, we're installed successfully. So now we're just going to go log into WordPress. Okay, and you'll notice there's a lot going on here through Bluehost. There's a lot of extra add-ons because of plugins. So we're going to just go ahead and delete these. So let's go over to plugins, and I'm just going to X out of this and this. I'm going to just click on, I'm just going to do all of them. I'm just going to click on this bulk selection right up here. So we get rid of everything here, and I'm going to click on deactivate, and then again, and then on delete, and then apply again, and yes. This is just going to make our site be a lot faster and a lot less weighed down by all of these plugins we really don't need. So now let's go ahead and add what we do need, which is starting off with a theme. So we're going to go over to appearance and themes. Okay, so it's got these 4 themes to start with, but we don't want any of those. We want a new one. So click on add new. The reason we need a specific one is because this is the only one that's going to let us use our plugin that we need for our page builder. So we're going to search for Astra. It's just a nice, simple, out-of-the-box theme that we can use, and it's going to play really nicely with our page builder. So it's right here. Just click on Install, and then on Activate. Okay, so that is our active theme now. So now we need our page building plugin. That's where all the real magic happens. So to get there, we're just going to go over to Plugins, and then Add New. We're going to go over to Search, and we're going to type in, it's called Starter Templates. And it is this first guy right here. We've got over 1 million installations. It's got a 5-star rating. It's really cool. So we're just going to click on Install Now and Activate. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is go up to where it says, thank you for choosing starter templates. Check the library of ready starter templates here. We're going to click right on that. And they basically have these page templates for these 4 different page builders. I love Elementor. I highly recommend you use Elementor. So we're going to click on that one. So now this is bringing in all of their pre-made page templates that we can just import directly into our site and then customize them any way we need to. Because remember how I said this website can look any way you want it to. And just check out all the different layouts. That's the first thing you want to look at. The second thing I want to mention here is do not be dazzled or put off by the images or the colors or the fonts or anything like that, because you're changing all those anyway. And I know it's hard to do. You know, your eye may be drawn to these puppies over here, or if you like these colors, your eye might be drawn here. But really what I want you to pay attention to is think of the content you need on your site, and then think of the layout that's best going to serve that, knowing that you can make little changes here and there, and I'll show you exactly how to do that. So we've got all these different options here, except for you'll see a lot of them have the little agency designator, which means they're not free. So first thing I want to do is go up to where it says all, and I'm just going to check the free checkbox. That's going to get rid of all the ones that you'd otherwise have to pay for. And a lot of these are kind of, they're named for the kind of business, like online health coach, business coaching and consulting, relationship and life coach. I want you to ignore all of those titles because any of these can be used for absolutely any kind of business. It's all about the image and the colors and the fonts and the content that you put on it. So I'm just going to start really easy, and I found this one that I want to use. It's just the first one called Outdoor Adventure. So let's click on that. And it comes with all these pages, which closely mimic what we're going to need here. So we're going to make a few changes, of course, but what we want to do is you've got a few choices. If you just wanted one of the pages, you could click on Import Contact Template or Home Template. We're going to import the complete site. This is the fastest way of getting you up and running quickly. They want you to answer a few questions here. We're going to skip that. They want to make you do it. I'm just going to say intermediate. I'm just going to say myself. Click on next. And then I'm going to click on skip right here. And now it's going to start importing everything. Okay, so it imported successfully. It did take just about a minute to do. And they do have a line here. I just want to call it out. We try our best to use images that are free from legal perspectives. However, we do not take any responsibility. So it's always a good idea that's why you want to use your own images whenever you can that you know you're allowed to use. So let's go ahead and click on View Site. Okay, so here is the basis for our site. So we've got a nice hero section. We've got a quote section. We've got upcoming events. And I want you to remember these sections could really be anything. So if you don't have events, that's okay. These could be your 2 different services you offer. Or if you have 3 services, you can just duplicate one of these columns and it'll be 3. These could be your benefits. I mean, the possibilities are pretty endless. And then we've got this section, which don't know what it's really supposed to be, but I think it could be a really nice About Us section right on the homepage. And then a nice little shot of little action shots. So yeah, there's a lot of work we need to do here to customize this for our needs, but it's a nice basis. So the first thing we want to do is go up to Edit with Elementor. And now this is where the real magic happens. So this is inside of the Elementor dashboard. You're going to get to know this really well as we go. So what we've basically got 2 sections here. We have the stage where all the elements live and you can drag and drop things into place. And then we have the sidebar. This is where you're going to find the different widgets that you can literally drag right over, or where we can style things. And you're going to get to know all this very well, I promise you. So if you're a little confused, stick with me, we'll be just fine. So the first thing we want to do is just kind of get something out of the way, which is nailing down our styles that we're going to use throughout the site. So we're going to go up to this hamburger menu and we're going to go to Site Settings. Now, if you've got brand colors you've already picked out, you're going to go to Global Colors, because they've already got some here that, I don't know why they always choose these colors, but it's what comes out of the box with Elementor. But I've definitely got a color that I want to add in here. And we're going to use that for a button around the site. So I'm just going to click on Add Color, and then you would just click on it, and then you would type in what we call a hex code or color value. And any colors that you want to use throughout the site, you're just going to put them here one by one. And then I'm going to click on Update. That is something you always want to do. Whenever you make any kind of changes to anything, you're always going to want to click on Update periodically. Otherwise, your changes are going to get lost. So let's click back up over to this little arrow. And we're going to go to typography. So hopefully by now, maybe you've gotten a chance to go to Google Fonts, or maybe you don't really have too much of a font preference. So in which case, what we've got here actually looks pretty nice and it's really clean and modern. There's no problem with it at all. But I do want to let you know what you have available to you, which is basically thousands and thousands of Google fonts that work right with Elementor, and it's totally free. So the first thing we want to do is choose the body typography, which is basically this, right? It's anytime there's a paragraph. So you can choose what this is. This one looks totally fine, but there actually is one. If you want my designer's opinion, for me, my favorite body copy font is, by the way, you'll just click on this pencil, and then I'm going to look for, it is called Montserrat. Going to click on that, and you can make the size different if you want to. Like if I like something around 18 points, it's just nice and readable. And you can choose the weight of it if you wanted something, a little bolder. I don't really like that for body font. I'm just going to leave it at default. And then line height is one that's kind of interesting, because a lot of times you'll notice like words can be cramped, like the space between can be kind of either too close or sometimes it's way too far. So let's just go eyeball it, make sure it looks good. Something like that looks good to me. and it looks good here as well. So I'm happy with these choices. You can play around with it if you want to. From here, what we also need is basically a headline font. Now, you can choose a couple. You can choose one for maybe the big headline and then another one for the smaller headlines. But I like to keep things simple, especially if you're not a designer. You might want to just go with one just to keep it really nice and clean. So what we want to do is I'm going to just go through it. So H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, these are basically all the hierarchies of headlines. So this would be H1, this would probably be an H2, and then maybe these are H3s. So let's just go through. I'm just going to choose the same thing for all of them. So H1 typography, I'm choosing, it's called Josephine Sans, and I'm actually going to choose a thinner weight. So basically we have Josephine Sans, weight 400, and I am just going to apply that across the board to all of these H2s up to H4. We don't really need anything beyond that. So okay, so I've done it through H1 through 4, and I'm happy with that. So now I'm just going to click on Update. And one more thing I want to do, I want to change the button color all around the site. So the way you can do that is just go up to, we're still under Site Settings, go to Buttons, and I'm going to go to Background Color, and I'm actually going to choose this, I'm going to find this little globe icon. That's where all our saved global fonts are. So I'm just going to use the one that I put in before. And that's for the normal state, but then you'll notice there's a hover state as well. Now you can change that to whatever you want. I'm actually happy with this magenta color. I'm going to keep that as our accent color. So no change needed there, but if you wanted to, you just click on hover and then add a new background color, whatever you wanted that to be. And you can change the text color in the same way. If we wanted it to be black, we could go ahead and do that, but I think it looks nicer with white. Okay, click on Update. Okay, so now with all of our global elements out of the way, we can actually get started on building out and designing our homepage. So the first thing we need to do is just click on the X next to Site Settings, and now we're in control of the page itself. So now you're going to be watching me make all these kinds of choices for this particular website, but keep in mind, all I really want you to pay attention to is what I'm doing and how I'm doing it so that you can make all these kinds of decisions for your own website, because obviously yours isn't going to look exactly like mine in the end. So first thing we want to do here, let's just go ahead and change the background image. So we'll just click up this little blue bar on the top, right in the middle, and these little pop-ups are going to come up. Just click on Got It. So basically what we just did is we chose this entire section that's outlined in blue. And just so you know, websites in Elementor are made up of sections like this, or like this is a section. And then within a section, we have columns. And then within the columns, we have widgets. This would be a heading widget. This would be a button widget. Now, the good news is about using starter templates is you're already almost all the way there. They've already thought of everything and put in most of the elements you need. But if you ever need anything else, you just go up to the sidebar and you click on this little grid. And now we've got all of these little widgets. And we'll get to some of them later for sure. But anyway, let's get back to the background image here. So we've got the section highlighted. Now we'll go over to Style and see we've got the image here that's already there. We're going to click on Choose Image and replace what we've got. So we've got several options here. You can upload something that you have yourself, either a picture you've taken or gotten from a stock website somewhere. Point is, you want to make sure you have legal right to use it. Do not get it from a Google image search or anything like that. You could get in legal trouble that way. The other cool thing that's available to you thanks to starter templates is we've got free images from Pixabay, which is a stock site you can have access to directly from here. I'm not exactly sure why they're looking kind of stretched out here. That's not normally they don't look like that. It might just take a second for it to kind of resize, but obviously you're going to need some kind of way to search for the right image. So I might write something like, since this is a trainer, I might write something like workout, so you can find these images. And you might want to specify, it says any orientation, you would want to make sure they're horizontal for that top section. So we could go ahead and put this one in. I'm just going to click on Save and Insert, and then we've got that right in there. So that's the background image. And then just so you're aware, you see how there's kind of a black overlay on top of it, making the text easier to read. That's controlled if you go down to background overlay. You can choose the color. I highly recommend just sticking with black. I've seen way too many people try to get cute with the color overlay, and it never looks quite professional unless you really know what you're doing. So just stick with black in most cases. And then the opacity makes it, lighter, which makes the text harder to read, or darker, which kind of just looks a little too dark. So I'm going to just put it back where it was. It was 0.55. Okay, but I'm actually going to use a different background image that I already have. So the way you do that, again, we're going to choose the whole section, go up to Style, Background. I'm going to click on Choose Image again. And now I'm just going to drag the image that I've already found right into place. Just drag and drop, easy as that. Now, if it's a full width image, you generally do want it to be about 1900 pixels wide. That's pretty much how I do it. And good practice going forward, you always want the alt text to be something, if you're going for SEO value, you want to use your keywords in the alt text. So I might type in, personal trainer in Chicago, for instance, if I was going for that term, and then click on Insert Media. And now we've got our new image. And just another thing I want to direct your attention to, so we can kind of play around with the placement of the photo. So right now, the whole point of the photo is that she's kind of working out and she's got a laptop in front of her, selling that idea of virtual home workouts, but we're not seeing that there. So what we can do is over position, we can choose, center, center, center left. I'm just going to choose center, center. That brings it up slightly. The other thing you can do too is custom, where we can kind of bring it up as much as we want to. The only danger there is sometimes when you look at it on a mobile device, it might come up in a weird format. So you always want to be careful of that. It's generally best to go with how they have it originally, because they've really thought out how things are going to look on all the different devices. But I think this looks pretty good, and I like that, when you scroll, the image the other content scrolls independently of the image. I think that's a cool effect. But now notice how, this text doesn't really go with what we're selling, right? So it's super easy to edit text, whether it's a header, this one, or body text, wherever it is. Just click on the text you want to edit, then go over to the sidebar and make sure you're under content. Just click on this little text box and then type in whatever you want your actual text to be. Okay, so that's our headline. And I'm not sure exactly why, but with all these templates, they always love doing this weird little mini headline above the normal headline, which doesn't really make much sense to me from the marketing world. What you really want is a headline and then a subheadline, not the other way around. So all we need to do is take this and drag it right underneath it. Just switch the order around. And then we can take this little divider and we can put that in between. Or you can scrap it all together. Again, it's another one of these things on these templates. They love using these little divider lines for some reason. You'll see them pop up over and over again. That is totally a choice if you want to keep those or delete them. I mean, I'll leave it for now. It doesn't really bother me. But let's go ahead and change this subheadline to something that's a little more appropriate to what we need. So again, go over to the sidebar. And then next, what we need to do is change our text on our button, because learn more is a terrible call to action, right? So just make sure the button is clicked and then go to content. And then under text, we're going to replace learn more with get your free consultation, which is the button people are going to click in order to get on your calendar, to use the booking system that I'm going to show you how to use later on in this video. And while we're talking about the button, we need to talk about how to link it. So we don't have the consultation page made yet, but when we do, here's what we'll do. Right now it's just a hashtag, it's a placeholder, but what all you are going to need to do is when we make the consultation page, we're probably going to name it, yoursite.com/consultation or /book, whatever you want to call it. And we're just going to type that right in here. /consultation. You don't need to have the entire URL. All you really need is what happens after the .com. And then they're going to know, because we're already on that site, it's just going to take you right to the consultation page from there. All right, so let's preview what we've got so far. And the way we do that is we can just collapse the sidebar by clicking this little arrow. Yeah, this looks pretty nice. Nice effect, nice scrolling effect. And then, oh, you'll notice too, when we get rid of the sidebar and go into the preview, that's when we can see our menu. It does go away when we're editing because we have to edit that separately later. Okay, so let's get back to this page. So we've got a weird little section here that's just kind of an inspirational quote. I don't think we need that. So this is a good lesson. If you need to get rid of any kind of any section, because you will, they come with sections that they just thought would be good there. They don't necessarily serve any real purpose. So all you need to do is click on the section and then on the little X, and it's gone. Now we could make this next section our services, right? We could just click this, say my services, or whatever, however you'd like to put it, and then we choose each image, and then we just choose something else. Let's find some workout photos. You can choose this one, and then save and insert, and then insert media. So it can change that way. You just click here, and then you change the title and description independently of each other. We can do this, but I want to show you how you can bring in another block that might serve your content even better and look a little more interesting, because for me, this feels a little basic. So let's go ahead and just delete this whole section with the X. And here's how we add a new section. So we're in this one. We want to add a section above it. So while we're in this section, we're going to click on the plus icon. Now you could make a section completely from scratch if you clicked on the plus icon and you chose how many columns you want. We're not going to do that here though. What we want to do, we actually want to click on the starter templates icon. And now you could add a whole new page within a page. You don't want to do that. What we want to do instead is go over to blocks. Now they've got a ton here. So I've been using Elementor for a long time and they've got a lot of blocks. But since I started using starter templates, the blocks they have are, I think, way better. They're just kind of more interesting. So what we'd want to find here is something that can let us showcase our services in a visual way. So, I'm looking for something like this. Let's say we've got 3 services, 3 columns, right? So let's see what we can find. And again, do not be put off by the fact these are all black and white. Don't be put off by the photos. It's all about the format and nothing else. All right, cool. So let's try to find our dream section that's going to serve the content the best. Okay, so I think I found a format that I like. Now notice it says video testimonials. It does not say services. That's okay. Again, don't get put off by the title that they've given to the block because we can use them for all these different things. So I'm going to click on that one right there and then on import block. Okay, so now I'm going to get rid of this. I'm just going to click on the X. And since this is going to be for our services, let's go ahead and change the title first. All right, looks good. And then you would change the subheadline if you want, or you can just get rid of it altogether by right-clicking and then going down to delete. But we'll keep it for now. So we've got 3 services we want to highlight, not 6, but if you had 6, you could keep this. But I'm just going to click this whole section and then click on the X. So now we're left with 3. And in case you're wondering, yeah, these look like little play buttons. They're not. They just look like play buttons. They don't actually do anything. Just think of them as buttons that we can connect to anything, including going right to our service pages, which we'll design later. Okay, so let's just style our first one so we can apply those changes across all 3. So let's say our services are one-on-one training, group training, and virtual at-home training. First thing I'm going to do is click on it and go up to Style. By the way, I'm clicking on the column here and then up to Style. And then we choose our image. And I'm going to upload one that I already have. I'm just going to drag it onto the stage. And I'd probably give it some alt text, right? Remember our SEO keywords. And then insert media. And then from there we can play around with our positioning because right now there's a lot of space above the model here. So let's do center. Yeah, that looks much better. And then we'll collapse background. We'll go to background overlay because I don't like the white over it. I think it looks kind of just cloudy or something. So I'm going to click on the color. I'm just going to go down to black. And then I'm going to make the opacity a little less so it's a little more vibrant. I think that looks nice. Now we change the text. So let's go right there, and then we can type into the title, the name of the service. So I've got one-on-one training, but obviously it's hard to read. We'll need to change the color. And I'm going to get rid of the text below it. We don't really need it. But if you wanted to just have like a really short description of what that service entails, you could keep that there where it says student. So let's go back up to style where we can change the color and the font of that text. So I'm going to go down to, because all this is dealing with the image, I'm going to go down to content, and under title, I'm going to change the text to white. And I actually also want that text to be all uppercase, and it also looks like it may not be the right font either. I'm not sure. But all we need to do is go to Title, Typography, click on the pencil, and under Transform, click on uppercase. And then under weight, we can do, 400 looks a little light. Let's do 600. Okay. I actually think that font is wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and just under font family. So that's good to know. If ever you need to change a font on the fly, apart from the global fonts you've already chosen, all you need to do is typography, family, and then remember we did Josephine Sands. Okay, yeah, so that's definitely different. Okay, so now we have to deal with this button. So obviously it doesn't look great in the color, and it's also a play button, which is confusing. So we're going to click on it, and it's basically just an icon widget. So what we can do first is change what the icon is, and since it's a button that's meant to go to another page, I think an arrow would be a good choice here. So just click on the icon itself, and I'm just going to type in arrow here, see what pops up, and we've got all these choices for arrows. I'm just going to choose the simple one and click on insert, and then I'm going to go up to style, and we can change the background color of it. It's the primary color. I'm going to click on the globe to access the color I already added in earlier, our blue color. And then our hover color is black. So I think that's actually fine. Okay, so I like the way that this block looks at this point. So all we need to do now is apply these changes to these other two. So just click on the column itself and then do a right click, copy, and then go over to these other two and right click, paste style, and again over here on paste style. And then we'll do the same thing with the text and the button. So let's right click on the text, and we'll go over here, paste style, paste style. And you'll notice it still has the description. That's because that doesn't have to do with the style, that's the content. So we'll address that in a second. So let's go ahead and right click on the button, copy, and then paste style, paste style. So now we just have to go through these other two and change the content, which is the image, the text, and the button icon itself. Okay, so let's change the text on our second one. Over on content, title, I'm going to type in group training, and I'm going to delete the description. And then over here, I'm going to type in virtual at-home training, and again, deleting the description. Then I'll change the icons, again, finding that arrow, and once more. And now we get to change the background image. So just go to the column, and then go over to style, and then choose image. And again, we can either use our own or we can use the stock photos they have in there from Pixabay. Okay, nice group training photo there. And then choose this column, style, choose image. I'm gonna drag it there, and then insert. And it's a virtual at-home training. And again, we're kind of missing the computer there. So let's see what we can do about that. Let's do position. Let's just do custom. And then Y position is what brings stuff up or down. So yeah, I think that's a little better. Not perfect, but you get the idea. Okay, so let's check out what we've got so far. Looking pretty good to me. So let's tackle our next section now, which is this guy right here, which I don't understand what this is supposed to be, but let's just make it a nice little about section about our fictitious personal trainer. So first thing we would do is probably just change out the image. So again, click the section, style, choose image, and I found a nice image of a personal trainer here. Obviously, this is not a real person, but, well, I mean, it's a real model, but you know what I'm talking about. and then just click on Insert Media. Okay, so notice how the text is going over the top of the person. We don't want that. So we could flip the image around if we wanted with Photoshop, but why do that when we can do this? All we need to do is reconfigure, just transpose one column for another. So just grab this little gray box with the column and drag it right over here. There we go, easy as that. So I hope you're starting to see how easy and customizable this whole system is. Now we're just gonna change the text. We're just gonna take the headline over on the sidebar. Hi, I'm John Koffler. And then obviously we would change this text as well. Nice little introductory paragraph. And okay, so we've got a learn more button here. Here's something important. We always wanna make sure the consultation button is the same everywhere. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back up to the hero section and I'm gonna right click this. I'm gonna do copy and I'm going to go here and right click paste, not paste style, but paste. And then I'm going to right click delete. I'm just gonna get rid of that. So see what we're doing, this is like what makes a booking website work so well, is repeating the call to action several times throughout the site. Even on the same page, that's totally fine. And we could left justify this if we wanted to by clicking it under content. We could just left justify it like that, super easy, or center, or right. I think left looks good in this case. Okay, let's see what we got. That was a pretty easy section. So going from top to bottom, here's what we've got. And now we've got this section, which I don't really know what to do with. Unless you've got like 4 great images to put here, it seems kind of unnecessary. So what would be actually more beneficial, I think, would be to have a nice little testimonial section here. So what do? Let's just go ahead and get rid of this. Let's exit out. And down here, let's click the little starter icons or starter templates icon, go to blocks. And remember, we've got all of these, but testimonials are the one that are a little bit different. Like they are kind of unique. So let's filter it by going under all, and we're going to choose testimonial and see what we've got here. So it's up to you. Choose your own adventure, whatever appeals to you. I'm just going to find one. Okay, so I think I like this one. I'm going to choose that. And it's import block. All right, cool. So I'm just going to change the text here. And then I would change this or delete it if it's not necessary. And then of course, for each testimonial, you want to really choose the best ones and you want to make sure they're short. Short and punchy works best. So just click on it. You would add the actual text over here. I would probably go ahead and make this italic. It just reads more as a quote that way. And I also want to add quotation marks. That way people really know it's a direct quote from a client. Then you just go through and you change the name, and it gives you a space here for their company. Obviously, if you're not B2B, that doesn't really make too much sense, but you can use that space however you want. But here's the important part. We've got 5 stars over here. So, but I don't like that they're black. That doesn't make them feel very authentic in that whenever you're on like a Google review or Yelp, they're usually always yellow. So we want to mimic that. We don't want to get too cute with it and go with our brand colors here. We want to go with that nice golden star color. So I'm going to click on that, go up to style and then color. And then we can just choose something. Don't go for like highlighter yellow, but something like this actually looks pretty good to me. So how do I apply that over here? Remember, all we need to do is right click, copy, and then right click, paste style. And then super easy to change the images out. Again, just click on each one and then go over to, it's under content. So then choose image, and you obviously want to use like the real person's photo. You don't want to use stock. I'm using stock just for the purpose of this video, but just drag it over and insert media, and the same thing over here. Okay, so now that's the end of the page, but we have one more thing to do. Again, this is a booking site. We want people to make those appointments. So we want to end it with a nice clear call to action, one last call for them to do something. So again, we're going to add a new block. Just click on this icon and then up to blocks. And we're going to search for call to action because I've got one specifically I want to use here. And again, you can use whichever one you want. I'm going to choose this one and then import block. And we're going to do something kind of cool here. So first though, let's go ahead and change the text. And then we are going to repeat this button. So copy, paste, and then right click, delete. Okay, but I want to do something cool with this one. I want to have it really be an attention getter. So what I want to do, instead of this image in the background, let's go ahead and choose the section, go up to style. Now they let you do a few things here. You can do an image, you can just do a solid color or a gradient or a slideshow. I'm going to do a video. So I'm going to click the little camera icon here for video. And then what you need to do is either, if you have a video yourself, you'd upload that to YouTube or Vimeo, and then you'd link to it here. But what I want to do, since we don't have a video, let's just go to YouTube and let's do a quick search for free stock workout videos, for instance. And let's see what we can find that would be royalty free, that's obviously free to use. And I actually found this one. So this one I think will work out nicely. And this one's free to use. It says, free stock video compilation for your use. So what we need to do is just grab the URL of it right up here. Just gonna copy that. And then we're gonna go back to Elementor Home. And we're going to go where it says video link. We're just gonna paste that right in there. But here's the thing. Notice how it starts with this title here. So we don't want that. What we want to do is start the start time a little later. So let's just say 5 seconds, and that bypasses it. So we're good to go. The other thing we need, I feel like it looks a little muddy with the overlay. So let's collapse background, go to background overlay. And I think they've chosen something that's not quite black. So yeah, let's choose just black. And to me, that looks a little bit nicer. And nitpicky here, but I'm not super happy with how close these two are. So I'm just going to choose the section, go up to layout, and here's where we can choose how wide our column gaps are, the gap between columns. So I'm just going to choose wide. That looks much nicer to me. So, all right, let's go ahead and see what we've got for our home page. We're starting with the hero, down to services, down to the about section, testimonials, super important, and our final call to action. There's only one thing left to do on the homepage, and it's actually pretty simple with starter templates. They've kind of thought through most everything. So what we need to do is just do a reality check and make sure it looks good on mobile as well. And the way we can toggle back and forth between the desktop, tablet, and mobile views is over in the sidebar. You'll see this little icon that's kind of a computer monitor. Just click on that. And then we're on desktop now, but we need to go look at mobile and tablet. So mobile especially is really important. So let's go ahead and click on that. It's going to give us this little preview of what we got. So right away, remember how we changed the position of this hero image? So what we need to do is rearrange that slightly to look good on mobile as well. So click the section and go to style. And you will notice whenever you can make a change that will only impact one device or the other, you're going to see the little device next to it. So under image, all these things we're going to talk about here are just going to be, they're just going to apply to the mobile version, and the desktop version is going to remain unchanged, which is pretty cool. So let's go to position, and we're just going to go to, let's choose center, see what that looks like. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. I like that better already. And then if we really want to get a good sense of what it's going to look like, we do need to collapse the screen just to get a true view of it. But we can do things like changing the font sizing. And looks like I'm seeing an issue right now. So see how there's very little what we call margin or padding between the text and the next section. So we want to deal with that. I'm going to go ahead and expand this back out. And there's different ways we can do this, but the easiest is just going to be to choose this section. We're going to go up to advanced, and we have two things here. We have margin and we have padding. So the way to think about this, I used to be confused about it too. Padding refers to the space within a section. So if we wanted to push this further down, we would adjust the top padding or the padding on the right and the left. Margin would be the amount of space outside of it. So if we wanted to push this whole block away from the top section, that would be margin. So let's go ahead and choose the section again, and we'll go down to padding. And then There's a few ways this can work. So basically, right now, all of these values are locked together, meaning if you change this to 20, it changes it to 20 all the way around. We don't need that. All we need to do is change the top and possibly bottom. So I'm going to unlink the values just by clicking there. And then let's see what 30 looks like. I actually think I want a bit more. Yeah, that looks much better to me. It looks much cleaner. Everything else looks pretty good, I think. Oh, okay, so I'm noticing that this bottom image, remember how we redid the positioning of it? So that's given us this weird little kind of margin underneath it. So we need to fix that. Let's choose this column and we'll go up to Style. And under the image, we'll go to Position. Let's try Center. Yeah, perfect, fixed it. And none of these changes I'm making are affecting what it looks like on desktop. Okay, so now we've got this section. One thing that we might want to do, because it's a little hard to read this over this image, I would just be really nitpicky, and I'm going to go ahead and click the section, and I'm going to go up to Style and Background Overlay. I'm going to make this slightly more opaque so it's easier to read. However, I'm not seeing that little icon, the little mobile icon next to opacity, so I'm wondering, let me just go ahead and check this real quick, if that doesn't change it there as well. It does, but I'm willing to deal with it because I still think this looks good, and then for mobile, I think it looks better and it's more readable this way. So I'm just going to keep it as is. I think it's fine. All right, now testimonials, this all looks good to me. See, they've really done a good job of making sure everything's pre-formatted so that it's like minimal changes needed. Okay, in this section, one thing I'll say is I feel like there's definitely too much space between this text and the button. It's unnecessary. So let's go ahead and, okay, so I'm just going to click on this button right down here and click the section actually, or the column around it, and go up to Advanced. And I see that there's a margin of 30 on the top of here. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that. That brings us a little closer. And to me, that looks pretty good. So let's just go up from the top down. And I think all of it looks pretty nice. Oh, and one thing too, if you want this video to be able to play on mobile, you need to click the section, go to Style. And then under Background, you're going to go to Play by Mobile and say yes. All right, so that way we've got it there. All right, now we're just going to quickly do the same thing for tablet. So again, we go down here, we click tablet, and that looks pretty good. Nice. Okay, so this has been centered. So what I want to do is center the button as well. So just click that. There we go, looks good. Testimonials look nice. Cool, and then I just want to center this button. All right, I think that all looks great. So now we are ready to move on to our next page. So the way we do this, first of all, we want to make sure we click on Update, save our changes, or they might be lost forever. And then we go up to the hamburger icon and then exit to Dashboard. Now this is going to let us, go into WordPress and choose which pages we want to work with. So from here, let's click on the little WordPress icon. So now we're already in Pages, and when we imported all of those pages over from Starter Templates, it created the whole site and all of these pages that came with it, made it our job really easy. So we can go through one by one and just customize each of them. So let's start off easy with About, and we're going to click that and then Edit with Elementor. Okay, so this should look familiar. We're back in Elementor. So what we've got here is a hero section with the H1, and then just some sections down here. And maybe these sections fit your content, maybe they don't, but by now I hope you understand how easy it is to switch blocks around, add a new block if it makes sense, change the text. But I actually think this is a pretty good template for an About Us page. So, okay, so let's just go ahead and style this top section with a new image. So again, we're going to choose the section and go to Style. And, since this is an About Us page, let's get an image of our trainer. So I'm just going to drag one that I found and then insert media. Okay, so now we obviously probably want the face in here. So we need to change the positioning. So remember, we go over under style, under the image, position, let's do custom. Okay, that looks good to me. And we'll just change the text here. Super easy again. And we're gonna really do just really light customization here. I don't think it needs much. So let's change our mission to, I'm just gonna change it to my mission because this is just one guy here. And we'll change the image to something maybe of him working with a client. And insert media, cool. And now underneath here, again, you can choose whatever content you want. You can choose another block if you wanted to. All I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna change this heading to my background and experience, and then this one would be my certifications. And then again, obviously just click the text to change it, and then right here you might have a bullet list of, you know, the different certifications you have as a trainer, or whatever version of that it would be for you. And maybe you wanted this background to be slightly different so that the page feels like it has sections. Just click the section, go up to style, and then under background type, just click this little paintbrush, and that's just gonna let you choose a background color. And what I like to do, just to kind of keep things slightly varied, is maybe this section's white, and then this one's just a really light gray. And that gives it just enough of that kind of differentiation. All right, so this looks pretty good to me. Let's go ahead and open this back up and do our quick reality check on mobile. So click this icon down here, click mobile, and yeah, this all looks pretty well thought out already out of the box. And once again on tablet. Yep. Looking good. All right, so again, we're going to click on update, and it's time to move on to our next page by going up to the hamburger icon and then exit to dashboard. Then our WordPress logo. So if you're making a booking website, you might have different services that you want to tell people about on your site. So we've got the page here, services. So let's go ahead and get started there. So let's click there and then edit with Elementor. And it's going to make us do it again, edit with Elementor. Now you've got some choices here on this page. So either this could be one page like it is now where you list out all your services. That's totally fine. In which case you would probably kind of keep it more or less as is, right? But if you wanted a different way, if you wanted to have, let's go ahead and see what this is going to look like. So we've got our little navigation menu up here. What if instead of going to a whole services page, when you hovered over services, the different services popped up? Like for instance, our one-on-one training or group training or virtual training, right? So what we want to do here is create one master service page that will just be dedicated to one service that we can then duplicate and just swap out the content so we can have 3 different service pages that are all following the same exact flow. So to do that, let's go ahead and expand this out. Let's just go ahead and make our first service page, and then again, we'll duplicate it later. So let's call this one one-on-one training, and we'll swap out the image over on style, choose image. I'm just going to use the same one we used in our little thumbnail on the home page. Okay, so you could keep content here as is, but I think I'm going to be better off just starting from scratch here. So I'm going to get rid of all these sections, just X each one of them out. Okay, so now all we have is the heading. Let's just click on this little starter templates icon, and then go to blocks. And again, this is going to be whatever fits your content the best. And it's always best to start with your written content, by the way. So I just want to look for something that's nice, has a nice little paragraph of text, as well as an image that goes with it. So I think something like this will be just fine. So I'm going to click that, then import block. Okay, so I'm not sure what this little icon is for. We don't need it in our case. I mean, you could change it and it could just be a little decorative element if you want, but I'm gonna right click and delete that. Same with this, we don't probably need this or the little divider. So I'll just go ahead and change the text. And I would obviously change that as well. And now let's change the image over here. So, and by the way, it's got a kind of a design element to it. this kind of swoopy corner, which is done just over on style. We've got border radius. So if you'll notice, these are all slightly rounded on the tops and over here to like 3 points. And then this one's 40. So basically, that's how that's done. You just have to like mess around with, like if we made that 20, it would be like that. I'm just gonna get rid of all these. If you like them, you can keep them, but we'll just square it off. So we're just gonna change this image by clicking on it, going up to Content, and then choose Image. And then I'll just drag a nice image of one-on-one training over there, and then insert media. Okay, now you'll notice it's kind of small, and the reason is because that other image was given a style of, the width was kind of set to 75% of the column. Let's just make it as big as we need it to be to actually fit the space well. I think that looks pretty good. All right, so let's add like one extra thing here though. I think it's important to add a price to a service. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do a little paragraph break here and type in prices starting at $75 an hour. And I'm just gonna bold that using the text editor right up here. You could also do italics, but we're not gonna do that. Now this may be all you need for a service page, but let's go ahead and let's assume you need something else. So we're just gonna add another block. Click on the icon down there and then blocks. And again, you just wanna choose something that's gonna fit your content the best and show it off in the best possible way. So I'm gonna use this features block right here. Click on import. And let's go ahead and first of all, I'm just gonna make the background a pure black. So go up to style and then under color, I'm just gonna choose all black there. We'll change out the image. And this one I'm actually gonna use, I'm gonna choose one of those free stock images. I'm just gonna type in workout and I'm gonna try to find something with the orientation of vertical because that's what we've got there. Want to fill the space nicely. Okay, found one. I'm just going to click Save and Insert. Nice. All right, cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and change the text here to supporting subheading. I'm going to type in strength training and then underneath. So basically I'm talking about, we have one-on-one training, but within that I help you with strength training or cardio training. And we'll change this as well. And if we wanted to spice this up a little bit more, we can change the text color. So let's just what if we wanted to make these headers that are magenta color? So just go up to style and then under title, because we've got title and description, we've got two different inputs here. You could change the color independently of each other. So for under the title though, we're gonna go to color, and we're going to type in our color value. And since we don't have that saved yet, what I want to make sure you know is whenever you add in a new color that you think you're going to want to use in other places, just click the little plus icon, and that's going to create a new global icon for you, or new global color for you rather, that you can always choose. So like if you wanted to do it down here, you would just click on the globe, and then there it is. So we're not going to do that though. But then if we wanted down here to change these little bullet points to that color, we can just choose the section and then go to style and then under icon, go to color and then globe, choose it. There we go. Easy as that. And now to apply these changes to this column, we're just going to right click on this section, copy, right click, paste style, and then right click, copy, right click, paste style. All right. And you'll notice it kind of did a little shift here, but it's going to go right back to normal. Sometimes it's a little buggy sometimes, but in the final version, it's not going to show that way. I was dealing with this yesterday as well. Okay, so now let's go ahead and give it another look on mobile. So go down here to responsive mode, mobile, go starting up at the top. Yep, looks pretty good. Love it. Think it looks great. Now, if for some reason maybe this image is too much for mobile, because remember, we have to be mindful that people are going to put up with less when they're scrolling on mobile. So maybe we don't want this image in mobile. All we need to do is click on it, then go up to advanced, and then under responsive. This works for any element, by the way. You can hide things or show them depending on the device that people are on. So we've gone to responsive. I'm just going to click hide on mobile. Now it's going to show it here. It's going to kind of gray it out, but then when you preview it by collapsing the sidebar, suddenly it's gone. And I think this is probably just going to be a better user experience for people. So I'm going to keep it like that. Now let's check it out on tablet. Looks good. And it's definitely too much on tablet. It's too big there. So I'm also going to make sure it's hidden on tablet too. Cool. This looks good, but remember, this is just one service, and we have 3. Maybe you've got more, maybe you've got less. But what we want to do is click on Update, and I'll show you how we can just very easily duplicate this page and then swap out the info for your different services. Okay, so let's go up to the hamburger menu up here and then exit to Dashboard. Then we're going to click on the WordPress icon again. Okay, so that page we just created is just simply called Services. So first thing we need to do is change that. So let's click here and then we'll just do Quick Edit. I'm going to call this One-on-One Training. And then for slug, I'm going to do the same. Slug is basically the URL after the .com. So this would be, johnkofflerfitness.com/one-on-one training. Okay, so I'm going to update that. Now, if we want to duplicate this page, it's super easy. All we need to do is go over to Plugins, Add New, and I'm going to search for one called Duplicate. And we're looking for this one right here, Duplicate Page. It's got over 1 million active installs. It's got good reviews. So I've used it on all my sites. Click on Install Now, and then Activate. Okay, so now just go back to Pages, and we've got one-on-one training. All we need to do now you'll see a new menu item, duplicate this. So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to do it one more time. So this is our original because these 2 are drafts, meaning they're not published yet. So let's just click each one of them and then I'm going to do Quick Edit and we'll call this one Group Training and we'll give it that slug as well. Remember, after the .com, click Update. And then for the other draft, we're just going to click on that and then Quick Edit. We're going to call this one Virtual Training. And again with the slug. And Update. Now all you need to do is just one by one, however many you've got, just click on it and then go to Edit with Elementor. And then just make your changes one by one. So we just call this Group Training. We would change the background image here by going up to Style and choose Image. And then we would change this image, this text, whatever you need to change. We already know how to go through and make those changes, but the point is the formatting can stay exactly the same, and it probably should from a consistency point of view. So this is really just an easy way of creating something one time for the overall look of it, and then just changing the individual necessary components. So I'd make all those changes and then go down to Publish. And then you would do the exact same thing for your other services page too. Okay, on to the next page. Let's go back up to the hamburger icon, exit to Dashboard, and WordPress icon. And now we're going to go to projects. So this is one that's not always going to make sense. It's kind of like in the case of if you have case studies to show, which actually could be good for this, before and afters, weight loss, all that kind of stuff. Or it could be if you're more of a visual based company, like an interior designer, where you can show off the actual projects you've worked on. This would be good too. But in this case, I want to show you what's possible in terms of just switching one page out for another. So let's go ahead and click on this one right here, and we're going to rename this Testimonials. We also could have done this from Quick Edit, but since we're here, let's just do that. And then Edit with Elementor. Oh, so we got this pop-up, meaning we didn't save that change. So we want to click Stay in Page and click Update up here, and then back to Edit with Elementor. Okay, so this is supposed to be a projects page, like I said, but in this case, we're just going to take one, because we've got this navigation up here that already has, now it's been changed to testimonials because we changed the page name. So let's just go ahead and create a great testimonials page, because obviously every business needs one. So I'll change the text here, and then we'll change the background image just by going up here again and then Style, choose Image. And then we've got this nice group shot of a bunch of happy looking group fitness clients, and I'll click on Insert Media. All right, looking pretty good. So then if you wanted to make this your projects page instead, you would just customize what they've got here. But what are we gonna do? We're gonna get rid of all of it. So just click on the X's, one after another as they pop up. All right, so now we're gonna start from scratch. What I wanna do is add in a few different things. A featured testimonial, preferably a video, as well as just the masses of all the testimonials that you can use. So let's click on this icon again, and then blocks. So I wanted something, and I don't think they actually have it out of the box, but what I want is something that will be basically a 2-column layout where we can have space for a video and then space for text over here. So I'm gonna try to find the perfect thing. Okay, and I found this one right here. So there's a black one and a white one. I'm gonna choose black so that it just kind of stands out a bit. So I'm gonna choose that and then import block. All right, so first thing, I want to go ahead and just change the background color to straight up black. So go up to Style, and then we're just gonna choose the bottom corner here. And then I'm gonna change the text. About me, I'm just gonna call this, I'm just gonna say Client Spotlight. And I'm gonna change the styling of this as well. I'm gonna change the text color to our magenta, and I want it to all be uppercase. So under typography, I'm just gonna click the pencil, and then under transform, uppercase. And then from there we can do things like, we can maybe make the letter spacing bigger. I think that looks kind of cool actually. So now what I wanna do is add the body of the testimonial itself. So what I like to do is put the whole testimonial here, cut down of course. You want it to be about this length. If you make it too long, people are just not going to read the whole thing. And then what I like to do is pick out a really short little kind of headline from it that if people only read that, they're still getting something out of it. So I'm going to go ahead and change out this text with that punchy, quick little headline. And then I'll change this text to our actual testimonial. And then we've got kind of this placeholder signature, which you'd want to use the real person's name, even though it does look kind of cool. But I'm gonna delete this, and I'm gonna delete this because we don't need these social icons either. What I do want to put is just a simple text editor. So this might actually be the first time we've dragged a widget over from scratch. So you're just gonna make sure you've selected this little grid up here, and then find text editor and drag it right underneath there. And then we would just put in the name of our subject and then style it with the right color so it's readable. So let's make it white. And you know what? I kind of liked that signature look from before. So let's go up to typography, and under family, let's just try to find a cool scripty font that we could use. Let's see. I don't love that one, but we can keep going, and you can always go to googlefonts.com as well and find one that you like. All right, so I think I found a cool one called Mrs. Saint Delafield. Yeah, perfect. I love that one. And we are going to go ahead and put 5 stars under this in a bit, but we're going to have to copy and paste it from the section we're going to do below. So for now, we're just going to go ahead and replace this image with a video. So I'm just going to right click delete, and this actually it looks like a background color within the column. So I'm going to choose the column, go to style, and then I'm going to choose the color, and just going to click this little reload icon, and it gets rid of it. So let's go back over to widgets, and we're just going to choose our video widget and drag it right over into place. And it's showing down at the bottom here, which is weird. So let's just choose the column, and then we're going to go over to layout, and then vertical align middle. Okay, so in choosing this video, you want to choose anything that you've uploaded to YouTube or Vimeo. So in this case, let's assume we have a testimonial video on Vimeo. So we're going to make sure this is selected. And then under content, just make sure Vimeo is selected. You can choose between YouTube, Vimeo, Dailymotion, or self-hosted. Don't ever self-host your own video, by the way. It's too much of a load on your site. So we're going to choose Vimeo in this case, and then you just type in the URL of the video itself, and then we can get rid of, like, say we've got all this stuff going on. We just click on hide, 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 and now it's much cleaner. And if you wanted this video to be kind of bigger and this a little smaller, all you need to do is go between these two columns and just drag it to be like any, ratio you want it to be. So I think something like this looks pretty good because it doesn't make it take up any more lines over on the side. So yeah, like it. All right, now let's go ahead and quickly add in the rest of our testimonials by choosing kind of a simple testimonial block. Go down here, click on the icon and then blocks. Then we'll filter by testimonial over here. And from here, you can choose any of these blocks you like. Since we've already got a dark one, I'm going to go for a light one to kind of switch it up. I'm just going to go ahead and choose this one right here and then import block. All right. Here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of this little sub headline. I don't think we need it. And I'm going to change testimonials. I usually like to change it to something a little less generic than that. Something like, client success stories. Then from here, it's literally just a matter of choosing each one of these elements. We update the image and we update the name and then their description. Again, if you're B2B, it makes sense to have like the company they work for, or in this case, it's like their occupation. You could do something like that, or you could do their age. If that's not going to be considered too rude in your profession. If you're a personal trainer, you might not want to be disclosing everybody's ages, but I'm not here to give you advice on that front. So, and then over here, you would just plug in the actual testimonial text. Again, I do recommend adding little quotation marks to each of them to make them read more as testimonials. And now let's deal with these stars. So this is a widget which lets you basically choose, the rating scale 0 to 5, which is what I would recommend in most cases. The 5-star scale is pretty standard. And then the specific rating. So it's going to be 5 in most cases. Anything on your site is probably going to be about a 5-star rating. Leave the 1 stars to Yelp, I guess. And then go over to, here's the thing too. Remember how on the homepage, the black stars just didn't really feel very authentic. They didn't feel like whenever they feel too branded for your own website, it's not going to feel like they're a real review. So a really easy way around that, just go up to style, color, and then choose that nice golden, yellow color that we did for the homepage. Then I'm probably going to mess with the spacing a bit, give it a little bit more. There we go. I like that. So just make all those style adjustments. And remember how we wanted to add the 5 stars up here too. So I'm just going to click this version, copy. I'm going to go right here and click paste, but except I'm going to move that above like so. But what if I actually wanted these to be next to each other? So what I would do there is I would just go up to the widgets, go up to intersection, and drop it right below this text, drag the stars right in here, and the name I would put right in there. And then I'm going to go ahead and slide this over to the perfect position. And I think we are pretty good to go on this page. Let's just make sure it looks good on mobile because we have made a few edits. So go down here and then go to mobile. Okay, so looks good. This looks pretty good. Yeah, it all feels pretty nice. And then tablet, just make extra sure. Okay, for tablet, we might just want to go ahead and center that text, and I think that would take care of that formatting. Yeah, that looks better. Nice, love it. Moving on. So go down to update, click that. Don't want to lose our changes. Okay, now we go back up to the hamburger icon and exit to dashboard, then WordPress icon. So we've got 2 more pages to do. The first one is contact, and then we're going to have to create our booking page from scratch. So let's go ahead and get started with contact really quick. So we're just going to choose this and then edit with Elementor. Okay, so from here, the first thing we would want to do is edit the title here. So might be contact John or contact me, however you wanted to put it. And then we'll change the background image, go up to style, remember, choose image. And I'm just going to drag this guy over, insert media. All right, perfect. And then right over here, we can change this if you want to. I'm just gonna leave it. Now, contact info over here. So obviously you would just change these fields by clicking on them, changing, you can change the title here or your actual address here. Here's what I'll recommend. I recommend not publishing your email address anywhere. I feel like that just leads to spam. People can already email you using this form. So I'm gonna recommend that you delete that. Then you would edit the phone number the same way. And then here are your social icons. If you wanted to have those, just click right here. And then you have them one after another. And you can add ones too. Because Google Plus, hate to tell you, Google, but you're not there anymore. So you can either replace one or add one. So I'm just gonna click there. You're probably on the gram, so I'm just gonna type in Instagram here. There we go. Much more modern replacement. And then for each one of these, you're just gonna link to your social profile right here. And you just do this one by one. And you can change the colors of these by going up to style. And then under icon, it's on custom right now, it's this color. Or you could do official color, which basically, each platform has their own official color. Totally up to you. As long as it's on a contact page, I think that's fine. You just wouldn't want to do this kind of thing and draw attention to it if it's like in a navigation header or someplace more prominent. But let's go ahead and just put it back to that. I think it looks a little nicer. And now we need to talk about the form itself. So this is a third-party plugin from WPForms. And right now I think this looks just fine, but it doesn't actually go anywhere or do anything until we make it do something. So what we need to do first is click on Update, save all these changes. Then we're going to go back out to WordPress by clicking that hamburger and then exit to Dashboard. Then our WordPress icon again. Okay, so from here, we're going to find over here on the left sidebar, WPForms. When you installed starter templates, it also imported that over as well. So just click that. And it's already made that contact form for us. It's right here. So all we need to do is click on that and then do edit. So what we've got here are 3 fields. This is all I generally recommend for a contact form like that. But if you needed something else, like if you needed a phone number, you would drag it into place and then you would, name it phone, something like that. But I'm gonna delete that for now. Don't think it's necessary, but that's how you would add another field in here if you needed to. So that's just generally the fields of the form, but this is the most important part. We need to go over to settings. This is how we're gonna know where it's going to send to and reply to and all that good stuff. So we need to go settings, notifications. So this is the email address that when someone fills that form out, this is the email address that is going to send to. That should be you. So if you've got the admin email, basically this would be pulling from what's in your WordPress dashboard. However, I like to be safe. Let's just put this in whatever email address you want it to be. So, hello@jkfitness.com. So this is the subject line that's going to come through when one of these is sent. So I would say something like new website inquiry. So from name, this is you. So type in your own name, and then from email, that should be yours as well. Okay, so now reply to, this is the person's email address who filled out the form. So it's already got it identified here as field ID 1. So we clicked on show smart tags, that's the one. And then for message, it's gonna send you all the fields that they filled out. And simple as that, that's all we need. So from there, we're just gonna click on save. And we're gonna exit out of here. And now that page, that contact page should be done. You're definitely going to want to just make sure, do a reality check, try to send something from it, and make sure it reaches your email address. The last thing you want is for people to be emailing you and you're not getting any of those notifications. So be sure you always give it that reality check. Okay, we have arrived at the really important part of this training. This is where we actually create our booking page with our booking system so people can get on our calendars in real time without any of the back and forth. Sound good? All right, so what we need to do first is go back over to pages, and we're just gonna take any of our pages, any of our simple pages like about, and just click that and click on duplicate this. We're just gonna make a brand new page, and it's this one, it's the draft one. So we're going to click on Quick Edit. We're going to call this, Just call it a consultation booking page or appointment booking page, appointments, whatever you want to call it, whatever works best for you and your business. And I'm just going to go ahead and call that consultation. So it'd be, johnkofflerfitness.com/consultation. And now click on update and edit with Elementor. Okay, so let's just clean house here real quick. Let's go ahead and exit out of all of these other sections that we do not need for this page. We'll change this text to get your free consultation or something like that. We can make the image whatever we want it to be. Just go up to style, and I'll just choose this image. Now, this is where the magic happens. This is where we're going to put our booking form widget. So in order to do that, we need to set up a free account on a website called Calendly. So you're just going to go to calendly.com and you're going to click on sign up. So here's where you put in your email address. And you're going to click sign up with Google and then next. And they're just going to ask you to allow a few things. Basically, Calendly is accessing your Google Calendar, which is the secret sauce to this all working so well. So then you'll figure out your unique Calendly URL. So I would just type in like JK Fitness, unavailable. Maybe we'll do the whole thing. There we go. You'll make sure your time zone is set. That way everything always comes in through your time zone. And then everyone else will see their appointment times in their time zone, so it all works out perfectly. Then click on continue. Okay, so this is basically telling you here's how it works. They're going to check your Google Calendar, assuming you have one, for conflicts, meaning if you have a standing meeting every week on Tuesday at noon, they're going to see that and they're not going to let people get on your calendar at that point. And then when somebody schedules something on your website, they block that time off for you on your calendar as well. So it takes information from your calendar, letting people know when they can book and when they can't. And then when someone does book, they put it on your calendar for you. So you always know at any given time when you're supposed to be calling people or when you're supposed to be showing up for appointments, which is awesome. It sure beats that back and forth of, does noon work for you? No. What about 2? No, that doesn't work for me. So we don't need any of that anymore. So go ahead and click on continue. And then from here, you choose the available hours you're typically available. So if it's, 7 days a week, then you would choose all of them and do 9 to 5. Or if it's, you can basically go day by day and choose which time blocks you're available for. But keep in mind, they will also layer in those events that you have. So if you're available 9 to 5 every day, but again, you have that 12 p.m. conflict every Tuesday, they're still going to know that. All right, cool. So then click on continue. This isn't really all that important. I would just say like freelance consultant in this case, and then finish. Okay, so here they've already come up with these 3 different meeting types for you. So we can just work with one of these, or you can just create a brand new one up here. Let's say this is for that free introductory consultation, and it's going to be 15 minutes. So let's just go ahead and click on that. And we're going to go through this one by one. So what event is this? I'm going to click this, and we're going to call it free training consult. Now for location, this could either be an in-person meeting where you would set up an address, or it could be a phone call, a Google Meet, a Zoom. Zoom is big now, thanks to the pandemic. Like everyone's on Zoom, so it's a pretty safe one. But what I like to do is actually do add a location, then we say ask invitee, and then they can choose between some options. So then you would add, let's say phone call, and you'll say, I will call. I highly recommend doing it this way rather than them calling you. You're going to get way more no-shows if they're supposed to be calling you. So always choose this one and then update. And then this one would be, let's say Zoom, and then update. And then if you wanted to use that, you would just have to click here and you'd integrate Zoom with it. We're not going to go through all that. It's pretty easy to follow those steps. Then under description, you would just write something along the lines of, we can discuss your goals and see if we're a good fit for each other. Then you can choose the URL here. This isn't going to be that important because this is going to be embedded on your site anyway, but I'll just call it consult. And here we can choose any color we want for the meeting, but again, we can brand this for the website. So this isn't super important yet. Now click save and close. Okay, now when can people book this event? This is kind of important. Not so much this one. People can book it out. You can specify how far out they can book it. You can do a date range or indefinitely into the future if you don't really care. Duration is already set, but we can change it if we need to. So if you want to use that existing schedule that you already created, do that, or you can set custom hours for it. You would just basically add the new timing for it, but we'll just keep it easy. And then under here, these are kind of important. So buffers, let's say you didn't want 2 right in a row because one kind of, sometimes they go a little over. So you might want to do a buffer of, 15 minutes after an event. That buys you more time in case the call is going well and you might need a little bit more time to close somebody. Or if you're, doing hair, maybe sometimes you go a little over, whatever works for you. And additional rules for your availability, this one I highly recommend paying attention to. Making sure they can't schedule they can't schedule last minute, because that can be a real productivity killer, at least for me. I usually like to do 24 hours. You cannot book with me before 24 hours. And you can also say how many max events you can do. If you'll be burned out, if you roll these calls all day long, you can cap it, 4, whatever you wanted to do. And I would definitely keep this setting right here. Automatically detect and show times in my invitee's time zone. That way there's none of that confusion of time zones. All right, now click on Save and Continue. Okay, now we've got some additional options here. I'll go through this pretty quickly. Invitee questions. Basically, we've got name, email, and please share anything that'll help prepare for a meeting. But let's say you wanted to do something that would kind of screen people out. So you're a consultant and you're fairly high priced. What you might want to do is add a new question of, what's your rough budget for this project? And then you could do something like, radio buttons where you have different options. So then you've got under 5 to 1,000, over 1,000. And then basically anyone who answers under 500, you may just send them a nice reply back saying, I don't think this is going to be a good fit. That way you don't have to follow through with wasting your own time on the phone with people who aren't going to be a good fit and aren't going to be able to be closed. So just a little pro tip. It's something I used to do. Okay, so now click on Apply. And I would probably move this one above. So you can just do this right over here. And then you could add a new question. I would not add too many questions because the more you do, the less people are actually going to follow through and submit. But keep it to only the relevant stuff, only the stuff you need to follow through and or screen people out. All right, so then I'm going to click on Save and Close. And okay, so the last thing I'm going to bring up here is collect payments. Now this one is very cool if you wanted to charge for your appointment. So let's say you're a salon and you want to be able to collect payment up front for that appointment. Or if you're a consultant like I am, I charge for my hour-long consultations. So I have it hooked up to PayPal. So basically you would just have to click this, go to the integrations page, make sure your PayPal is set up or your Stripe account is set up, and walk through those steps there. But it is really nice to know that that is an option. So I'm going to click on cancel for that. And let's go ahead and see what this form looks like. This obviously is not on our website yet. And yeah, this has my my community manager's name on it because I used her email address for this, but it would normally say your name, right? And then it just allows people to choose whatever day they want. Then they choose what time they want, confirm. They fill in all their information. They choose either phone call or Zoom. If it's phone call, they add their phone number. They choose a budget. They type in something here, and then they click on Schedule Event. It goes on your calendar. They get a nice notification email, and everyone knows exactly what's happening. So at this point, we just need to get this onto your website. Luckily, it is super easy to do. All right, we're just going to hit back right here. And I should mention too, by the way, you've got two options here. What you can do is have it where it shows just like this on your, actually, let's go to the first screen here, where it shows like this on your website, where it's just one event type and they go right into choosing the day and time. Or it can look more like this, where you have different things they could choose. Again, for the salon example, it could be a cut, it could be a shave, it could be a hair color, and they're choosing based on that. And to make things even better, let's say you have a staff, again, you're a salon. you've got multiple people working there, you can have everybody represented. People choose who they want to work with, and then they choose their service and they book it. Now that is slightly more advanced, and I'm not going to cover all of that in this video, but it's very easily figure outable. And then all the steps after this are pretty much exactly the same. Okay, so let's say we want to just put our free training consult on our website. All we need to do is click share, add to website, and we're going to do embed inline and then continue. And this is kind of cool. This is fairly new. We can actually customize the colors. So background color I'm going to leave as white. Text color I'm going to make pure black. Yep, it's there. And then the button color, I'm going to use our like kind of turquoise color that we've been using on the button. Now I'm just going to click on copy code. Now don't worry, this seems very complicated. I promise you it's not. So let's go back to our consultation booking page. Okay, so all we need to do now is fill in this gap with our little booking widget. So let's go over and click on the plus sign. We're just going to choose a one column layout. And all we're going to do is we're going to drag a heading right on top. And then we're going to go back and we're going to search for the widget called HTML right here. And we're going to drag this guy right underneath the heading. And then here's where the magic happens. We're just going to go ahead and paste our code right into there. Pretty simple, no? I mean, we still have a little bit of work to do here, but I think it's looking pretty good already. So you'll notice that there's this weird little side scrolly thing that happens because when people were to click a date, this gets a lot longer and now it has to account for it. So what we want to do instead is just make this whole section longer so we don't need that. And the way we do it is, don't be afraid, we have to edit the code slightly. So go back over here to HTML code, look for where it says height equal or height colon 630. We're just gonna change that 630 to, I usually do like 1400. And that gives us enough space. Now we can say bye-bye to that little scroller. Looks much cleaner. All right, so from here, we're just going to center this text. Just click on it under content, alignment center. Let's go ahead and change that to be a little instructive and let people know, what they're supposed to be doing and why. So I'm going to type in something like, okay, so this gives them a little bit more of a backstory of why they would want to fill this out. So just going to do one more quick thing here. Now that I'm looking at this, I'm going to go back up to the widgets. I'm going to drag a text editor right underneath this. And I'm just going to type in. Okay, and then I'm just going to center that under content or under style, alignment center. And I'm going to give this a little bit more of a margin here because it's a little tight, right? So click on the entire section, go up to advanced. And then margin, I'm just going to do, let's see what 50 pixels looks like. All right. I'm pretty happy with this. I think it looks nice. And then people can just choose a day that works for them. They type in their details, schedule event, and all is well. But of course, we do need to reality check this for mobile too. So go down to the responsive mode, choose mobile. Okay, looks good. Looks good. Yeah, I think we're in business. And in case you're wondering, this Calendly labeling can go away if you go for their paid version. And I think you also need the paid version in order to take payments as well. So just something to know. But if you're taking payments through it, totally worth the price if you ask me. So let's go check out tablet view as well. Yep. All right, looking good. Now just click on publish. But we've still got at least one really important thing to do, and that is tackle our header. So let's go back over to the desktop version. So we obviously need to finalize this. I think it looks pretty good, but I want to show you how to customize it if you want to. And we definitely have to put in a new logo and do a little bit of a rearranging up here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get our sidebar back and go over to the hamburger icon and exit to dashboard, and then click on WordPress. So first of all, we have to rearrange our navigation items in the correct order. So what we want to do is go over to appearance and menus. So here we have our only menu, and it's arranged for home, about, one-on-one training, testimonials, contact. But remember, we made several different service pages. You may not need this, in which case this would just be called services and you're good to go, or whatever pages you need, right? By now you should know how to make any different kind of page you need, whether that's a case studies page or pricing, anything like that. You just want to figure out what your most important pages are that you want to have in your header navigation. And then now I'm going to show you how to arrange them. So what we want is basically we want to have one of these that says services, and then the services are nested underneath it. And that's how you get that effect of, when you hover over an item, there's a submenu that drops down below it. So let's go ahead and go over to custom links, and we're going to type in services. And then URL, we're just going to put a hashtag. And we're going to say add to menu. Okay, so services, we're just going to put right here. For some reason, it's not letting us put it over. Okay. Just slightly buggy. We're good now. And now we're going to drag our one-on-one training underneath services. See, it's a sub item. Now we need to add our others as well. So let's go over to pages. We're just going to find those pages that we made. So one of them is group training. The other one is virtual training. Where is that? It's going to click on view all because it was just showing us the most recent, but we want to see all. So we've got group training and, oh, you know what? I never made that third one, so that's fine. So we've just got two. So group training, we're going to add it to the menu. Yeah, that's right. I just told you guys to do that third one, and I didn't actually do it myself. So that's fine. You can still get what we're doing here. All right, so here we've got home, about, services, and then if you hover over services, you get these, testimonials, contact. Let's click on Save Menu. And now we're just going to go to our home page, go over to Pages. I'm just going to click on Home and then View. Okay, so this is where you need to be in order to edit the header menu. Don't ask me why, it's a little clunky, but you have to not be in WordPress or in Elementor. You have to be just viewing it basically as a visitor would view your site. So from here, just go up to Customize. Okay, so the first thing we should do is change out our logo. So in this case, it's kind of a transparent logo or transparent header that goes over this image with a black overlay on top of the image. So it makes sense to have a light logo. And you also want one that's horizontally laid out like this. If you have something that's square, it's going to be really small. Or if you have something that's vertical, it's just going to be weird. So you always want to have some kind of a more horizontal layout for web. So what we're going to do is go down to Header Builder, and then we're going to find, so basically this is the layout of it. We've got the logo, the primary menu, and the button, okay? So first things first, we're going to go to the logo. Here's what we've got. We're going to click on Change Logo, and then you're just going to drag your file. Now this should be a PNG file, which means it has a transparent background. You can either make one of these in Canva yourself using their builder, or if you have a designer working on one for you, you can do that. So I'm just going to click on Select, and then it's going to ask you to crop it. I'm just going to click on Skip Cropping. All right, so then we've got it up there. It's a little small, so I'm going to go ahead and mess with it until it looks good in the space. And that looks pretty good to me. So I'm just going to back out with this back arrow here. And now our button, notice how it says, first of all, it says take action. It should say get your free consultation, and it should be the same color as well. We want to repeat that same button over and over again. So let's go ahead and click on the button. We're going to repeat the same language, and we're going to make sure that the link is set. So what we're going to do is do a / consultation, or whatever you named that consultation page, that's what you're going to type in there. Then under design, if you go to background color, I think this is the normal state and this is the hover state. So you're going to click on that. Unfortunately, this does not bring in the colors that we already set, which is a little clunky, I admit. So you're just going to have to go back and get that same color value. And I have that right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and type that in. There we go. And then if you wanted to put in the hover color, you would just click over here. I'm not going to grab the right one, but it's roughly that. Okay, so then what we're going to do is now we're going to look at our menu, because the font is definitely not right. I want to make a few adjustments to it. So if I want to change the font up here, I'm just going to go to Design. under primary menu, and then down to menu font, because it's technically supposed to inherit the styles that we gave it already in like the very beginning of this video, but it's not really doing it. So I'm just going to type it in from scratch. Remember, it's Josephine Sands. And then I'm going to make the text transform. I'm going to make it uppercase. All right, so that looks pretty good to me. So now we need to figure out what this is all going to look like on mobile though. So let's go ahead and down here at the bottom, let's click on the little mobile icon. Okay, so one thing I'm noticing is our logo went away because it's on white. So what we need to do, I think the simplest solution for this would be just to make this whole top bar black. That way our logo shows up nicely on it. So let's just go over to design and background overlay. Let's just choose black. There we go. All right, so all looks good. And then if you click on this, it opens up the menu, and then under services, you can click that and it gives you those. Cool, and let's just make sure that it looks good on tablet as well. Okay, so again, what we need to do is change the background overlay to black. Okay, so I'm just gonna click on publish and then X out. All right, just a few last minute house cleaning items. We need to make sure all the buttons work and go to the right pages. So I'm just gonna go ahead and from the home page, click on Edit with Elementor and just click on this button and make sure, link is /consultation. As long as that's what we've named our page, we should be good to go there. Let's just go ahead. I'm gonna do a preview. If you go down on this little eyeball icon, I'm gonna click on that. It's gonna open up the page so we can preview it. So I'm gonna click on that button and see so that was the wrong page. Okay, so what we named that consultations page was jkfitness.com/consultation, right? So we're just gonna go through the buttons and make sure they're all set to link to /consultation. That one is as well. And finally this one also. All right, cool, we're good to go. Now we've got these buttons. So what we're gonna do is link them to their individual pages. So click this one, and this is gonna go to remember we call this one one-on-one training. We call this one group training. So go over to link /group training, and then same thing with this one. So just make sure they're all actually set and then click on update. And once your pages are built and your buttons are working, you are good to go. Okay, so now that you know how to physically create this kind of booking website, we need to talk about the rest of the site and what goes into one that, actively draws in way more of your most ideal clients. Well, I've got you covered in my free on-demand masterclass video, The Wildly Profitable One Weekend Website Blueprint for Service Businesses. So just click right here to sign up for the training, and I'll show you what your website needs and what it doesn't to be an automatic client generator for your business. So click here and I'll see you on the inside.